guys, it is MissSimReno. If you're returning to the channel, welcome back. And if you're brand new, I am very excited that you decided to join me here today for another speed build. And we are in Windenburg, a place I love very, very much, and a place where I am not too comfortable with the architecture. So I was really excited to kind of challenge myself and actually jump into a community lot, which I am always hesitant with. I'm always hesitant with community lots, but I thought this one was going to be kind of simple and kind of a neat idea and something very kind of basic that I could just get out of the way for my save file. And not saying that in a way that I didn't want to build it. I had so much fun building it, but I knew that it was going to be fairly easy and it was going to come to me pretty quickly. So I did kind of make a combo library and cafe, because there are some libraries and or bookstores at this point that have cafes attached to them. I mean, they're all over the US. I don't know about in other countries, but it is definitely something that is all over the US now. Like pretty much, I don't know, every single Barnes & Noble has a cafe in it, right? I think they have their own chain. I mean, even Target has cafes and stuff like that. So it's not like this is news to anyone, but I thought it was going to be kind of a nice idea. I didn't want to do a bookstore and a cafe because then you're stuck with trying to run it as a retail lot or a cafe. And that means that you either have to hire like a barista for the cafe, or you have to basically have something set up as a retail lot, but you can't buy anything if you run it as a cafe. So all in all, I didn't want to mess with the functionality. So I wanted to be able to make something that was a little bit more versatile. So this could either be run as a library where, of course, you'd have to hire a barista. So I would recommend running it as a cafe because the library functionality, I mean, the main thing is that there are books there and that people are going to show up and read, right? So it's not a functionality that carries a lot of like restrictions or a lot of weight to it. So I would think that the cafe would be the best way to run this, because then your barista shows up and of course you can go over to the library if you want to. And I had a lot of fun. I used some of the kind of like inaccessible lots in the background there for reference when I was kind of building the structure, because that's the main thing with a lot of these Tudor style homes, or at least the places that are in Windenburg. I noticed that there are a lot of pieces that kind of jut out and they almost look like they're not supported. You know what I mean? Like they're past the, what am I trying to say? They're past kind of the foundation framework of the structure in itself. So they kind of jut out and they don't really have a lot of support. And to me, for a while, that looked so awkward. Like I could not make myself do it. But I finally got to a point where I thought it looked really nice, especially in this build. So I already pretty much wrapped up the exterior here. I'm just putting some seating and some flowers, and actually some debug trees as well, because all of the trees that were in Windenburg, we didn't get them in the build and buy catalog, so they're available in the debug menu if you enter the BB Show hidden objects and BB Show live edit objects cheats in the cheat bar, if you were wondering. And yeah, it was really fun. I really liked how this came out, because what was originally on the slot 2 was a cafe, and a lot of homes, or not even homes, a lot of lots in Windenburg, they do have kind of like the old Tudor style and then the modern extensions, and that's what this had, but I wanted to go full Tudor for this one. So now we're on the interior, and the first thing I work on is the library. I do just kind of put a giant staircase in the middle. I was going to use the stair manipulation tool and kind of make a twisty-turny one, but I honestly didn't have as much room inside of this interior as I thought I did, so I ended up just making it a straight staircase, which kind of bums me out. But I use these beautiful bookcases from Strangerville because I don't get to use them a lot, because I mainly don't use the really either the medium or the tall wall height too much. There are some times that I do use it because I have to, because I refuse to use any of the doors other than the ones from Strangerville because I do love those doors. But yeah, it was really nice to use those bookcases and kind of come up with this look. So basically on each side of the bookcase each side of the staircase, there's like 5 bookcases and a few little seats, like some chairs and couches and stuff like that. And there's no music down on this lower level because I was thinking that this is pretty much like the reading room. This is it. And there's actually only one bathroom too. So I will say, if you want more bathrooms, you would have to construct more, because I did only put one down here and it doesn't even have a bathroom door, so it's not restricted to any gender. It can be used by anyone. It is all inclusive, and it is just the one toilet, one sink. So it could get a little backed up. It could get a little crowded if there are a lot of Sims here and they have to use the bathroom, but I think for the sake of the build it worked because it's a reasonably small library and the cafe is actually reasonably small as well. And basically, you can access the cafe only from the cafe side, and you can only access the library from the library side. However, upstairs, there is a second floor to both of these builds. So on the left side, on the library side, there is basically like a study area upstairs, so there's like tons of computers, and then on the other side is a game room above the cafe, but it's only accessible from the library. That's what I was kind of trying to get at. It's only accessible from the library. I was going to make it more seating for the cafe, but then I realized that your Sims would have to go into the library and use the stairs to get up there, and that just seemed kind of backwards and weird because I couldn't really fit a staircase in the cafe because it was so small and I wanted there to be some inside seating as well. So, whew, long explanation, but there is a second floor, which is kind of nice because usually with community lots like this, I don't put a second floor unless I have an explicit idea as to what I want up there, but more often than not, the second floor is actually just for show to kind of make businesses on community lots that are attached kind of seem like they're at different levels. So some of them might look like they have a second floor, but it's only the first floor that's used, and some of them might only have one floor just to kind of mix up that leveling there, I guess you could say. But now I'm kind of cluttering up these bookshelves because they do have these big open spaces. So I used the OMSP shelf and I grabbed some random book clutter. I wasn't going to go too detailed or too crazy because it's not like this library would be very personalized, so like a certain sim or anything. And I just figured kind of picking different swatches of some of the book clutter items that we do have would at least suffice to fill those empty spots, though I realized I kind of forgot to do it in the few bookcases I put upstairs. So if you want to add any of this clutter, feel free to just copy it over, but I kind of completely spaced on it. Actually, I didn't feel like it was necessary, but downstairs when the bookcases were so close together, I kind of thought it was necessary because it looked, I don't know, looked too open, incomplete, and or copied over, which is, of course, exactly what it was, right? I copied all the bookshelves over, but here we are upstairs, and basically surrounding the staircase and in each of these little nooks where these kind of jutting out pieces are in the external part of the structure are the desks. And I tossed a few bookcases up here, like I said, but there are mainly just a lot of desks and they each have a computer. You could, of course, remove one or two of those computers if you wanted a place for maybe child Sims to do their homework or write in journals or something like that. But I thought it was nice because typically in a lot of libraries, there's maybe like 4 or 5 computers and that's about it. So I wanted to add a few more than that here, just in case it was heavily visited and people really came here for the computers, because Sims do that, right? They use the computers and their phones. We are slaves to technology, aren't we? So I wanted there to be enough computers for, you know, if you were to bring your Sim there and most of the computers were occupied, there might be 1 or 2 available. It's kind of what my thought process was. And I just tossed some plants there just to kind of green it up a little bit. And of course I change out the overhead lights to these lights here, which are kind of, I think they're some of my favorite, to be honest. I use them in a lot of builds, aside from those saucer lights that I use to initially light everything up, but I don't typically keep them in builds. I usually keep them in like bathrooms if I do. Anyway, tangent. Now we're in the cafe, and it is really small on the interior, and it's very standardly decorated. There's nothing crazy or fancy here, but I do go ahead and pull out some of these external signs here. And I was trying to figure out how to hang them because they do all kind of jut out to either the right or the left. You can't just hang one like above the doorway or something. So I was trying to think of the best place to put the book one and then the cafe one. And I ended up kind of placing them awkwardly, but at the same time I thought it worked. And even though there is this kind of espresso bar where you can order drinks, I thought it was a nice idea to actually make a little mini espresso bar here for your Sims to go make their own drinks. So if you are extremely poor, if your Sim is extremely poor and they wanted to go to the cafe and enjoy themselves, they could actually just go here and make their own coffee as well, free of charge. So that's kind of nice. And like I said, I was thinking of it more of like a self-service kind of station. So maybe you like pay for the cup or something and then you go ahead and make your own drink. I don't know. And here are some of the inside seating areas. I end up with only 3, I think, because I didn't want it to clutter it up too much, and I had a plant, a nice little flower in the center of each table. And then I found this community corkboard, and I was going to put it here because I was thinking maybe this is the hub for community news, but I end up actually putting it on the exterior of the structure, like right outside here between the library and the cafe. And I thought that worked. And then I used this fence to make it look like this is kind of how the line would wrap around at the counter. And then I just hang up 2 paintings on this wall here to fill up the space, and another little espresso shelving unit like I had over the other espresso bar. And after that, I go outside and I place some tables with umbrellas, nothing fancy. I think there's only about 3. And there's plenty of seating out there for your Sims to go outside and enjoy the weather if they go and get coffee on a nice day. And then I again end up going upstairs and working on what ends up being the game room. Like I said, it was going to be seating like for the cafe. Just didn't work out that way. So I add 2 Don't Wake the Llama tables, a foosball table, 2 dartboards, and a jukebox. And it's just a nice little hangout place. So maybe this is where like the young adults or the teens hang out and keep out of trouble is my thought. Or maybe you could make this into a club room. I didn't put one of the club doors there because I wasn't thinking that it was restricted by any means since it's right off the library, but you could actually do that too, since I believe this cafe had a club room that was restricted to, I think it was like the reading club. I don't remember the name, but I think that was their room. And that is actually pretty much it for the build. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm getting more comfortable with community lots, so I can't wait to hear your thoughts, and I will catch you next time I post a video. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Sky's beautiful and so are you. I wanna make it up to you, start something new. Yeah, I've been thinking of the parts I played for you, and how I'm drinking from the bottle as I do. It's like a long dream. You're on the wrong team. Oh, there's a light and there's a fire coming out of me every time I see one's a destroyer and one is a warrior, fighting hard to be the better part of me, the better part of me, the better part of me. Another day, another rhyme, trying to sugarcoat and reconcile, so I can do a dance and make us both forget, only to start it